Hi, I'm here with Rita from the Health and Fitness Coach. Firstly, congratulations on your award.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're really honoured and really proud to be representing women, especially in, Women's Month, International Women's Day coming up. So, yeah, really proud. Thank you for having us.
Of course. And could you just tell me a little bit about your business? Why have you chosen to really pinpoint women and especially older women?
So we work with women because although every single person on this planet could utilize coaching and needs help and guidance in various areas, men and women are very different beings. We think differently, we have different ways of approaching life. And so for me, it's about having a PhD in my clients. And I wouldn't say I work with older women. I think women in their 40s and 50s, that is the new 20s and 30s to me. And it's a really vital time. But equally, women in their 40s and 50s, oh my goodness, the amount of responsibility, the amount of things on their to-do list. They have careers, they have teenage kids, they're probably Uber mum, just taxiing people around. And often at this stage, with all of those responsibilities, there's no time left for them. And often, especially when the menopause hits, the hormone changes hit, the body just starts spreading and changing in ways that are unusual, unrecognizable, and they just don't have time to do anything about it. So for me, that's such a key area that is overlooked, because social media is all pretty young, slim, taut women that have never had kids, who have never really had to go through the stresses and strains of life. And I think for me it was, well, let's help women, real women, who are struggling with that and need someone to reach out to.
And could you talk a little bit about your 6-step program and the steps,
So we have our 6-step system, which is called Change. So this is a system that I actually developed and trademarked, which is designed for reconditioning how our brain works. So there's a very long-winded phrase called neural associative conditioning. And essentially what that means is, how does our brain condition itself to think of something and it triggers an outcome? So we think of stress, or we think of work, and it triggers, I need a glass of wine. Or we think of the number of things on our life admin to-do list, and it triggers a trip to the biscuit tin. And essentially that's all a habit is. A habit is a pathway with a particular outcome. And what we do with our 6 steps, and why it creates lifetime change, is we rewire where that pathway goes. So step by step, it's moving the pathway so that there's a new outcome at the other end. And by doing that, you essentially create a new normal, this new way of thinking. And essentially the 6 steps are conscious choice. So most of us react, oh, this has happened, let me grab a glass of Pinot. So it's conscious choice. How am I feeling? So we go into a really deep level of understanding of the feeling that's triggering the action. A, obviously, is action. What are we actually about to do? Most of us, including me, if I'm about to eat 10 biscuits, I probably don't want to think about it. I probably push it to the back of my mind. So we really look at the action and naming it, owning it. N is for need. So I won't go into it in this interview, but there are essentially 6 key human needs which we're trying to fulfill at every stage of life. Everything we do is trying to fulfill one of them. And so we need to identify which need we're trying to fulfill in that moment. Because if we don't, we can't create an alternative that fulfills the same need. We end up just going back to the old habit. G is goal, and E is empowering alternative. Making sure we've got something that serves our goals rather than hindering them as an alternative to the old habit. And once we repeat this for sort of 10 weeks, 12 weeks, sort of throughout the program, those habits have shifted, and we just never go back to the old way of doing things.
Amazing. And alongside this habit changing system, in terms of your program, what sort of disciplines do you cover?
So we cover a whole gamut of different areas. Most women that we work with have been on diets pretty much their entire life. They've done, you know, the Slimming Worlds, Weight Watchers, the Atkins. They've cut food groups out. They've cut food out entirely and just gone for juice. You know, it's all sorts of things. And we are a great believer that rather than doing something for now, we need to do it for life. And if that's going to happen, you can't just focus on one aspect. So we cover nutrition in a completely tailored way. So nutrition that, yes, loses people weight, but does it from the perspective of looking at their metabolic rate, their hormone balance, their biochemical balance. What does their body need nutritionally? Because when we give our body what it needs, it responds by doing what we want it to do.
Yeah.
And again, nutrition that doesn't restrict. So most people think, well, I need to be all in or all out. And if I'm all in, I can't eat chocolate. I can't have alcohol. I can't have takeaways. They cut everything out and eventually get bored or hangry and binge. So we do it in a way that says if you can't sustain that change for life, we're not going to create the change now. So we look at nutrition in a really, really tailored way. We cover fitness. So looking at exercise that is very specific to that woman's body type. So a lot of women will be at one extreme. They might do nothing. They're completely sedentary. And at that point, movement is key.
Yeah.
We have to move. The only people that don't move in life, they're dead, right?
Yeah.
So movement is key. Or the other extreme, they're exercising every day and seeing no results. And that's because they're doing things that are not efficient for their body. So we look at exercise, movement, we look at hormone balance, biochemical balance, we look at posture, we look at body type, but we also look at mental health and emotional. So most women have got emotional traumas. Maybe their mom, their dad was very critical of how they looked as a child. Maybe they had a previous relationship who really brought them down in who they were. And these past traumas we often just bury and sort of create layers and a mask. And how do we sort of cope with that? We eat, we drink to hide it. So we cover everything as a very holistic approach.
Amazing. And do you have any exciting future plans ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. So this year we're expanding sort of further. So we're in 6 countries globally at the moment. And we're looking to really just help women everywhere. And we're doing that by increasing our group program reach, by really adding in further sessions, further pods, so that women can still stay in a small group, but we can actually reach more people. But equally, I'm training more associate coaches, so more women who understand and want to help women, and training them to do what I do. And I'm also in the process of writing my book. So I have 3, but this one's really my baby. And this is all about the 6 steps, so that women who aren't in a position to be able to do coaching or to access it, this gives them a really accessible way to understand those 6 steps for themselves. So yeah, it's an exciting year for us.
Really exciting times. Yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think the only thing I would like to add is just to say a massive thank you to yourselves for presenting me with the award, but also to everybody who has been there with us through the journey. That is my clients, wonderful women that trust us, because when we're talking about body, lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem, past traumas, that is really courageous. So to those women who trust us to help them, there's a massive thank you to them, and a massive thank you to my family. My family, ironically, is all boys. There's my husband and three sons. But if they weren't as supportive as they are, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So yeah, it's just a massive thank you to everyone in my life who's really helped us up until now, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Oh, well, thank you for speaking with me, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.